Hello everyone, Pendadi here for the second tutorial on this playlist, showing you all the different possibilities and options you can have into Emby. As a reminder, Emby is a software you can use as a server client server, that is allowing you to stream all your content. It could be a video, so a video, movie, or TV show, and also it could be music, pictures, and whatever media you want. From your personal computer, it could be installed on different machines, and it allows you to stream on different devices like your iOS devices, Android devices, smart TV, and finally all the devices available on the market. Today you have an MB. Generally, you have an MB application for any devices available on the market. For this second tutorial, that will be very shorter compared to the first one, because the first one was more an overview on the different options you have. On this tutorial, I want to focus more on the network side, because I think that is very important, especially if you don't want to use the MB Connect. MB Connect is a very good feature, I would say, but it requires to have an account on emby.media. So you go on emby.media, you create an account, and with this account, you can link any local accounts to your Emby Connect account, which is online, and you don't have anything to do because it's like magical. So it will open all the ports and anything needed to be up and running in the streaming. So you can stream right away from any outside device. But as I said before, maybe you don't want this system because it will require an account for each of your users. So each users of your server will require an MB Connect account, and maybe you don't want that. And also MB is very nice because it allows you to create your account, and after you just have to manipulate and change the your router configuration to allow MB to bypass your router and to be routed directly to your server. We will see this part in another tutorial video because right now I just want to show you the options related to the network page in the administration page. So what I will do here is, like, here is the setup we installed together in the previous tutorial. So you can see I have my Badass 2, the best movie ever, I guess, and the Russian doll, it just for testing purpose. It's not that I am fan of this movie or this TV show. It's just for test purpose, because I wanted to show you how it works. So I will go. I'm clicking here, right here, and so I am able to manage my MB server. Basically, I have all the information here, as I showed you before. I have my in-home LAN access and I have my remote WAN access. I'm sorry, but I have to hide. I have to hide this address because, yeah, I don't want to be pirated or whatever. But I'm pretty sure anyway that if you're looking at this video, my IP address changed already, so it's not an issue anymore. If I'm going here on settings, So it's not exactly what I wanted to show you. I'm sorry for that. So I am going on network here, and what can I see is that I have my LAN networks field. Just to explain you what it is and what is it's designed for. It's I would say that, for instance, I am able to to give Emby to force Emby um, to consider all the IP address I will put here, and it's not exactly the IP address. It could be IP addresses. Sorry, it could be 1, 2, 3. It could be IP addresses, but it's also very useful because you can put IP in the net mask. So basically what it means is that if I am putting this, for instance, like very common local IP address, I think I am on 0, anyway, whatever. Um, so if I am putting, anyway, I will put 1. If I'm putting this address and I am doing this, so I am giving the information to Emby that I am using my local network with uh, this IP, okay, and with the mask at the end, I am giving the information to Emby that I am using 24 bits for my main address, my main subnet, or my main network, finally. So Emby will see that and will say, okay, so you are using an IP address is on 32 bits. So Emby will say, okay, I have 8 bits for each component. So I have 4 components, right? Going from 0 to 255. And basically it will say, okay, you are using the first 3 buckets that will remain 192, 168, and 1. So I don't change anything here. So it's giving the information that every addresses on this particular network with this particular network address will be considered on the local network. And it's very important. It's not something that you use when you have a brand new installation. It's something you use in a specific edge case. I am using it because I am using a container, so I have a specific edge case where my container is not using this address because it's like in a container. So I have to say to Emby that he's working on this specific address here. So Emby in the container is able to consider all connections coming from these IP addresses as local, and everything outside this address, the 192, 168, 1 point something, is considered external. It's very important for the container, and I had the edge case because I was in the situation where the IP address of Emby in the container was different, and when I wanted to use the local pin is the option allowing users connected on the same network locally to be able to write a pin of, it could be two number or 4 number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can be connected directly to the server if you are in the same local network. If you're outside that, you won't be able to use the PIN code, and you have to use the complete password. It's a matter of security. So in the edge case of the container, I can explain in another video more in detail, but in the edge case of Emby in a container, I had to use that to preserve the feature and being able to use a local pin. bind to local network address is to force Emby to say I have this IP address like 1.8, for instance. So I am forcing Emby to say you have this specific address, and I want you to get this address and don't move. After that, you have the local the local HTTP port number and the local HTTPS port number. So Emby is listening on two ports, one for the HTTP, so without any, I would say, encryption, and one on the HTTPS, so with encryption. It's I would say that you don't have to change these ports usually because you are behind a router. Being behind a router, you can ask your router to do some routing, basically. So you will have to go into your configuration, the configuration page of your router, and to say I want to route, for instance, because usually we're doing that, to route everything going through the port 443 to this local address on this specific IP address. So basically this address here with the port 8920. And your router should do the job. And you have to specify to your router that it's HTTPS protocol also. Allow remote connection to this Emby server. So if you are, if this checkbox is checked, you will be able to access from outside. If it's not the case, everything that is not in this range of IP addresses right here will be just rejected or ignored. Okay. You can do a filter on the remote IP address if you want. You separate them by comma. It's really simple to use, and you can do a whitelist or a blacklist. Usually, the best way is to I would say, because I have some notions in security, I would say the best is to block everything and to allow only what you need, instead of opening it to anyone and block. Because in the second, if you choose the second option to open to anyone, you will have more work because you will have to specify every addresses you want to block, and it's really painful, especially when you are targeting a lot of addresses on the internet. So, but you have the choice. You have the choice. You can say it's what is cool in Emby is that you have the choice. So, but I would more consider the whitelist. And Emby is able also to determine a public, so I would say a remote port to say, okay, this port is the one who is exposed on the router, and it's also the one that is used for the basic installation. It's exactly the same as the local port number. So my advice here is to change them, especially if you open your router and you are able to access from outside. So I would change them for, I don't know, could be 8080. And here, usually, we're using the 443, but you can use whatever ports you want. Some people will say, don't use the 443 because it's the traditional HTTPS port used. So people will scan your IP address, your IP address from your modem, your ISP, basically, and you will see that the 443 is open. So you will try to find a breach, a vulnerability breach on this specific port. It's totally true, but at the same time, if you are like me and you are, I would say you're moving, okay? You are going in hotels, you're going into the mall shop, you're going to, I don't know, you're moving, you're not staying at home, you know? You will find on public Wi-Fi sometimes, and not sometimes, often, you will find that some Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi, are allowing only connection on port 80, port 443, and maybe if you're lucky, the port 8080. But that's it. So if you're going in a motel, a hotel, if you're going to a shop, you can get in trouble if your public port is different from the one that are commonly used because they are just for it just forbidden to use them. So I would say that yeah, you have some risk on the security side, but at the same time, the external domain is to mention to Emby that you're using a specific domain, and this domain is you have to manage your domain to point directly to the IP address of your server. If you want to use the HTTP, it's super simple because you just have to put your IP address or your domain name, and with the port 8080 in my case here. But if you're using the HTTPS port number, it's a little bit more tricky, especially if you want, I will say, to use the full encryption. If you want to use the full encryption, you have to use an SSL certificate. What I recommend here is to use the Cloudflare service. So if you're going here, you can create a free account. Okay, I don't have any contributions coming from Cloudflare, okay? But I am using it on a daily basis. So what I am doing is that I am buying a domain name on whatever website you want. I don't want to give you any advice on that. You just have to say, buy a domain name and you will have a lot of websites to buy them. If you are using a domain name that is not very, I would say it's not a .com or .net or whatever, it's .xyz, something like that. It will be cheaper, so you can use this one. In your domain name provider, you go there and you specify, when you have your free account created in Cloudflare, you specify the DNS from Cloudflare. So the domain name will point directly to your Cloudflare CDN provider because it's a CDN provider, so it will cache all your static stuff on your Emby. So at the same time, it will help you to offload the quantity of information your server will have to push to your different users, because the CDN will be right in the middle and will provide all the static information like pictures and things like that. Okay, not the video. The video will always be read by directly from the origin. It's only caching static stuff. So text, picture, theme, things like that. And after you just have to go in Cloudflare in your settings and specify the IP address of your server. And after it's super simple, you have an option in Cloudflare where you can download a certificate. And after you just put your certificate, sorry, okay, you just put your certificate here with the password here. So your certificate should be a PKCS 12 file, so it's provided by Cloudflare, and it should be, I will say, hidden somewhere on your machine. Okay, so not accessible, just accessible by Emby, but not accessible by someone from the internet. So you have to be very careful on that. After you put your certificate password and you determine your secure connection. I would say that I am putting this because I want everyone to enter in the secure mode. And anyway, I have a certificate, so I am using the encryption, so I want to use it. Enable automatic port mapping. So it will, I would say that if you specify all the information above, it will try to map the public port to the local port via UPnP. Is it useful in this case because we specify everything before? I don't think so, but it's your call. You can just let the checkbox checked. It's not an issue. I explained this in the last tutorial, the previous tutorial. So the max simultaneous video stream, it will be applied to all connections. And you have the option, just a reminder, you have the option on each users to say, I want the max simultaneous video connection from this specific user. Here is like for everyone. So let's say you know that your internet connection and your ISP is giving you I don't know 20 megabit second of upload. You are experimenting your stuff and you see that after and on, I will say above 3 connections at the same time, the server is crashing, or the server is not crashing, but the bandwidth is like exploding, and your users are buffering as hell. So it's not very efficient. So you say you want to limit it to 3 maximum simultaneous connection. You have another field right here. Again, you can specify on each users if you want. But basically here is like for everyone connected at the same time. You can say, okay, my bandwidth is like 20 megabit second. And maybe you want to, because don't forget that when you are downloading, okay, downloading is like super vague, but when you're downloading any file, when you're watching Netflix or doing some streaming on YouTube, you need a little buffer on the upload side, because you are also sending information to be able to get the information. It's how connections to internet are working. So I will recommend to, if you have a 20 megabit second connection, I will put 18 here, because you will have a little buffer to have your connection available to you also, because you don't want to give everything to your users. You want also to be able to use your own internet. If you're not doing that, everyone will be connected at the same time. The server will just cap at 20 megabits second, but your connection will be oversaturated and you won't be able even to get your emails. So it will be crazy. Um, so that's it. I hope this tutorial was, I would say, useful. I can do some explanation on how I would say the IPNet Max, I would say uh, IPNet Max and IP addresses. I would say this field here, LAN networks, helped me a lot before concerning how Emby is used into a Docker container. But anyway, I will do another video. Maybe it will be the third or the fourth one of this playlist. But I will definitely do a video because I want to explain you how Emby could be installed into a Docker container on any Linux distribution. So I will show you. In my case, I will use CentOS because I am more used to use CentOS. But the setup for Ubuntu is not very different because anyway, you're using Docker and Docker Compose, and these two programs are available on both distributions. So it's not very complicated to jump from CentOS to Ubuntu to Fedora to Red Hat to I don't know, any distribution, Mint, whatever. So hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I have a lot of stuff. I have a lot of ideas, and it's becoming real through this video, and I definitely wants you to check these videos because I'm doing them for you guys, and I hope you appreciate it. Thank you, and have a nice day. See you.